going to show you some cool down stretches. So this is after your workout's done, you're sweaty, you're hot, you're ready to hit the shower. Well, maybe once your sweat dry first. And then, before you do that, it's really good to just catch yourself, spend 5 minutes stretching. 5 minutes is achievable, trust me. I'm going to primarily teach you guys some leg stretches. There's a couple shoulder ones I'll do as well. And then of course, if you want to do the wrist ones, just look back to the previous video on warm-up exercises. And any one of those stretches held for the prescribed amount of time we're about to walk through will work just fine. So go back to that video if you have access to it. Check the warm-up video. At the end, I do the wrist warm-up sequence. If you want to stretch your wrists afterwards for any amount of time, do the stretches from that video. Your wrists will be fine. So now we're gonna do some hip, and we're gonna do some stretches for the legs, then a few for the shoulders, and then we're gonna be good. So for these, all of them, every single one of them, your prescription, what you're gonna do is going to be a minute hold, but with a timer that's letting you know when the 30-second mark is. At 30 seconds, there is a tendon in your muscle that releases and allows the muscle to stretch further. I don't know why it's exactly 30 seconds, it just is. It's somewhere around there. 30 seconds is close enough. The tendon releases, it allows you to stretch the muscle further than was currently being stretched as you were holding that stretch. You'll notice, you'll take a big breath in, you'll release that breath, and you'll feel that muscle actually just like release a little bit, and you'll go, oh, I can now stretch like an inch further in this position. Funny. That's what we want to do, because otherwise your muscles got pumped with lactic acid, they're going to start repairing themselves, they're going to tighten up and go back to doing your normal life, which probably includes a lot of sitting. No, we want to make sure the muscles actually get a chance to elongate at some point. You can even do these a second time on your off day, like between lifting days when you're just going for like a walk or a run or something too. You can definitely do that. I would highly recommend doing the warm up for the hips and these leg stretches at least after a run or something like that too, or some leg exercises or cardio that involves legs. So that being said, 30 seconds or a minute long at least. I go like a minute 15 sometimes per stretch. And as you're doing that, at that 30-second mark, take a big inhale in through the nose, exhale out through the mouth, reach further into that stretch as you do that. Do that like 3, 4, 5 times as you're still in that second half of that minute with that stretch. You'll keep feeling a little bit more range of motion you're able to attain. That's part of how we actually increase that, and we also decrease like the immobility and the tightness that can come from strength training. So that being said, first what we're going to do, pretty common stretch. I bet you guys already know this one. It's a hamstring stretch. It's called the runner's stretch. Just going to bend over and touch your toes, or as close as you can get to your toes. You're going to hold this for 30 seconds. The reason we're crossing one leg in front of the other is because this is allowing that back leg, in this case my left leg, to be stretched. Put your hands on the floor as far as they go. Keep that knee. We don't want that knee to be very bent. We want it very straight. Hold that for at least 30 seconds. Once that minute is up, we're going to stand up. Do the other one. Same thing. Same side, or same procedure. Touch the toes, touch the ground, touch as close as you can to the ground. Then the 30-second mark hits. Inhale through the nose, exhale deeper in the stretch. Then do that a few more times in that last half of that 30 to 40 seconds. Now your hamstrings have been stretched at least one way. I'm going to show you one other hamstring stretch that I like to do. You of course can do that same one with both legs like this. That's also okay. It's kind of nice to highlight each one, I think, though. I like to do it individually. One more stretch for the hamstrings. There are many we can do, but one more that I like to do. I'm going to bring one foot in against the thigh. I'm going to reach towards your toe. Once again, if you can touch your toe, great. If you can't touch your toe, that's okay. Reach as close as you can. Let's just say your arm goes to here. That's fine. Reach both arms to there. Now, I like about this one, I'm actually going to touch my toe because I can. I'm going to brag a little bit, I guess. So we're going to touch the toe. We're going to reach this arm over. I'm not just going to reach like this. I'm actually going to reach over my head, elongate the muscle of the lower back that can also get tight from like lots of deadlifting or something, or heavy deadlifting. And now, I'm not only stretching my hamstring down here, I'm also stretching this lower back, which is great. So over the head like that, kind of bring your ear to your bicep there. And now we're gonna have 30-second hold in that position. Same thing for the other leg. You might find one of these is tighter than the other. That's okay. Same thing. Or kind of like your, I don't know what this motion would be equivalent to, but we're kind of drawing a circle with our arm and bringing it around. There we go. Once again, that'd be a minute to a minute 10 hold per leg. At least do one of these. The hamstrings are notoriously tight. They like to be tight. So now we're going to stay on the ground and do a quad stretch. You're going to notice this stretch is extremely similar to a standing quad stretch. Once you see it, you're going to recognize it. So I'm going to lay on the floor. I'm going to lay kind of long here, arm up above my head. I'm going to bring both my legs to 90 degrees bent at the knees like this. I'm going to grab this foot and bring it back. Now the reason this is the quad stretch we're choosing and not the one we're standing is when they're standing, you have the ability to kind of lean your body forwards. Right now, this is called a sideline quad stretch. You can't do that. Your body is fixed to the floor. You can truly emphasize your quad. That's a great way to make sure this mitigates some of the tightness and the muscle stays at full range of motion and not increasing its range of motion, even though you're putting a lot of time under tension on it. So we're gonna hold this the same thing, 30 seconds, take that breath, do it for a few more times, hold it to about a minute 10 total. Okay, release, roll over, do the same thing on the other side. I'm not gonna demonstrate the other side, I believe you guys can do that on the other side. Those are the main ones I do for hips. If you do both sides of your hamstring, both sides of your quads, you have 4 minutes roughly. Not that bad. Now, we're gonna do some back stretches or lat stretches as well as a shoulder stretch. So shoulder one, shoulder relatively simple. You find a doorway. This is just the post I'm gonna grab out here. You find a doorway. You're gonna rotate that arm out. And we're gonna hold. All we're gonna do. Likelihood is this arm got the shoulders get pretty tight. Especially really common to kind of work the front side either with chest exercises or the anterior deltoid gets a lot of work done as well. Whether you're doing push-ups or chest presses or anything, I put those in a lot of my workouts for my clients, so you're likely gonna see those. You just have some tightness here. Same thing. At that inhale, exhale point. Just shift to the back a little bit. You're not really trying to rotate your shoulder around a little bit, as well as twisting your upper body, so I don't move my feet. You can do the same thing like a doorway. You can grab, this is too wide, but let's just say this was a doorway. You have your forearms against that door frame, and lean forwards like this. That's gonna stretch your chest actually. That's another upper body option. You had something to hang on to, top of a door frame. This is never a bad thing to do either. This is actually good for overhead positioning. I'll show you the same thing from this angle. You can just put your arm in a doorway, squat slightly, lean forward with your hips, let that arm stretch and open backwards. So that's some of the shoulder ones. Last one I'll show you is for the muscles in the upper back, or the upper to mid. Actually, the lats are everywhere in the back. This is a lat stretch. Door frame is your best friend. My up right here is my pretend door frame. Grab this with one arm, bend the knees slightly, like you're going to do a kettlebell swing or Romanian deadlift. Hinge at your hips, pushing them back. We don't want to have the back rounding a bunch and trying to do this. No, we want that back to be neutral. So I'll show you this right arm so you have a better view of it here. Bend the knees, hinge at the hips, pushing those hips back. Letting those muscles of the back open up as well as some shoulder and chest and stretch as well. You do the same thing with both hands on a wall. So I can come to this wall here, put my wrists slightly below my shoulders. I'm standing at a slight angle as well. Bend the knees a little bit. Slide it. I'm just going to put it back here. slide the hips back. This is when you gotta play around with to find the right positioning. Inhale. And so trying to get your shoulders or your whole body, your upper body below your shoulders. Okay, so that's another one you can do for shoulders, chest, and lats. And of course you could round your spine, lengthen that. Yes, you're touching your toes here, but you're really trying to work on keeping the spine as mobile. It's okay to even do this with like a slight weight in your hands. I know we're rounding our back with a weight, but it's a great way to stretch this muscle. Frequently, we slouch this way, and when we're sitting, we're doing this a lot. But usually we're trying to, in lifting, we're trying to do this all the time, just to keep things nice and tight in the back. It's good if you kept things tight under load, getting stronger to actually elongate it a little bit. So, it's okay to hang in the position. You can do it with no weight. You can grab a few 5s, 10s, something like that, just to hang there. And as you come up from that position too, and you could even do this standing like a box or a plate or a chair or something, or a step, so your feet are a little bit higher than the ground, so that way you're holding for weight, you can actually go below your feet. You can even kind of increase your hamstring mobility, your back mobility. And as you stand up with that, sit holding something here, you want to actually kind of think about lengthening each vertebrae, or kind of like moving each vertebrae one by one. So this. There you go. Your spine was made to move. It can move in every direction. It can move sideways, move forwards, move backwards. So you can move all these different directions. That's okay. You just don't need to grab 80 pounds, start doing it right away with no warm up, no training, no strengthening. But it can move in many different ways. It's okay to stretch and elongate that as well. So if you had to do nothing or something, do your legs if nothing else. If you had to do those runner stretches, or the one you're on the ground touching the toe, or do the quad ones. For sure, don't skip the quad ones. And then if you do any upper body ones as well, you can throw those in there. If you want wrists afterwards, check the previous video, take any of those movements, just hold them for a long period of time. That being said, hope this helps you guys stay a little more mobile, a little more crisp after your strength workouts, and let me know if you have any questions.